Let's look at the Duke's Mayo Bowl featuring Wisconsin and Wake Forest. Wisconsin comes in 3-3, finished third in the Big Ten West. Wake Forest 4-4. I believe that was good for tie for ninth in the ACC. So this was a matchup that I probably would not have forecasted at the beginning of the year. I would not have thought Wisconsin would have finished 3-3 and be matched up with against Wake Forest in this bowl game. Now, only 6 games for the Badgers, 8 for the Demon Deacons. We're going to talk about the fantasy matchups, the matchups in general. This is one of the ones where I sort of see a one-sided contest in this one, just right off of when you look at everything on paper. Wisconsin 6.5-point favorites, 53.5 total at the time of writing this up. And let's just look at the offenses and really, I believe the line is only 6.5 for the reason of Wisconsin's offense just really hasn't been great up until this point, averaging 22.3 points per game, 170 on the ground, 187 in the air. And on the other side of the ball, Wake Forest, 37 points a game, 169 on the ground, similar to Wisconsin, but 265 through the air. The difference is really in these teams is in the defense. Wisconsin only giving up about 15 and a half points a game. Wake Forest has doubled that. They're giving up over 31 points a game. Wisconsin, not even 100 yards on the ground. Wake Forest has given up almost 200 yards per game on the ground. Passing 169 for Wisconsin, 256 for Wake Forest. And really, what I think this game is going to come down to is we know that Wisconsin is known for running the ball and playing defense. Traditionally, that's their MO. Run, play defense. That's what the numbers suggest as well, where they're only allowing 15.7 points per game. They're only allowing 93 rushing yards per game. And I do think in order for Wake Forest to win this game, they're going to have to get the running game going, because I just do not have a lot of confidence in Sam Hartman and his ability to consistently be efficient passing the ball in the air. I think that's what it's going to come down to. But let's look at a few of the fantasy matchups, key players in this game. And for me, I don't really want to put a lot of stock into the quarterbacks in this matchup. I know Graham Mertz had that great first game of the year, but his numbers have only been ho-hum since then. He's only got 8 total touchdowns on the season. Sam Hartman, he's played in 2 more games, and he only has 10 passing touchdowns this year, 2 rushing TDs, not many rushing yards, if anything, negative. So he's not going to give you much there. The best thing to happen fantasy-wise for the running backs on the Wisconsin side was the fact that Kenneth Walker III opted out. So you're probably looking at a heavy dose of Christian Beal Smith in this game. I'm sure Justice Ellison is likely to get some work as well. However, keep in mind, they're going up a Wisconsin defense that's not even allowing 100 yards per game on the ground. So unless you're in some type of league that allows you to get value in Christian Beal Smith late, for me, the Wake Forest running game is an avoid. I'm avoiding that. Now, over on the Wisconsin side, Jalen Berger should be able to play, and we were seeing the emergence as Jalen Berger as Wisconsin's number 1 running back as the season wore on, until he got injured, until he got bumped and bruised up. That made for Garrett Groshek to get a heavy dose in that regular season finale against Minnesota. And I don't know, if Berger missed a game, has he had enough time to recover, get ready for this game? And even if he has, will he get a full load, particularly knowing that they don't need him and Garrett Groshek can carry the load? He proved that. You've got Nakia Watson that's going to figure in as well. If I had to take one back right now in this game today, being at least a week out from the game, I'm actually going to side with Garrett Groshek, because 1, we know he's healthy. 2, we just know what he did in the previous game. 3, there's some uncertainty about not only the durability of Berger at this particular point, but after getting in shape, has he had enough time to get back in shape to get a heavy workload? And I don't think that Nakia Watson is going to take away that much from Garrett Groshek, although he will figure into the running game. Now, the passing game for Wisconsin is really what's troubled them all year. Injuries, with Davis, with Danny Davis, with Kendrick Pryor. that has hurt the passing game. I think you ride Jake Ferguson, the tight end. He leads the team with 29 receptions, 284 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's going to be the guy in the passing game that you're going to want to target. And based on whether or not Davis, Pryor, either of those guys are able to make it back, I think you're probably looking at Jack Dunn as your second best option in that Wisconsin passing game. But for me, it's Garrett Groshek. I think he would probably, unless we get some type of word leading up to kickoff that Berger has been able to be full go. I think Groshek right now, looking out at this game, is the player to own in this entire game. Now, on the Wake side, they're going to have to throw the ball in order to beat Wisconsin. And if you're playing in any type of PPR format, I think Jakari Roberson is a player that you're obviously going to want to target. 54 receptions on the year, nearly 800 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's going to be Sam Hartman's favorite target in this game. They're likely to be without Donovan Green, who's questionable going into the matchup. I think if you're looking to get another player into this matchup and a part of the Wake Forest game, some long shot plays, you may be looking at more of Taylor Morin, who's got 27 catches on the year, 3 touchdowns, and maybe A.T. Perry as well, who's got 200 yards receiving. In Green's absence, those two guys probably step up in the passing game. But Wake Forest, I believe that offense is going to go through the running game. It's going to be about whether or not they can run or not. If they can't run, they could be in big trouble, because I just don't know if Hartman can do enough in the passing game, because Wisconsin's defense, the numbers suggest they've been as solid as they traditionally have been year in and year out. The problem with Wisconsin this year is going to be the offense. So when you look at the schedule, Wisconsin, where did they lose? They lost at Northwestern. They lost against Indiana. They lost at Iowa. They handled Illinois well. They handled Michigan, and then they were able to escape against Minnesota in the regular season finale, win a 2017 win. I mean, you look on the Wake Forest side, they got beat pretty good by Clemson. They barely lost to NC State. They did beat up Campbell. They did beat Virginia. They did beat Virginia Tech. So those are some nice wins. They won at Syracuse, and then they barely lost against North Carolina, and they got beat by 28 points in the regular season finale at Louisville. Did they check out? We don't know. We're going to find that out in the bowl game. For me, I'm going to go with tradition here. I just like Wisconsin. I like the toughness. I think they're going to bring it. I think the defense is going to show up on bowl game, and whether or not they can kind of bottle up some offense for one game remains to be seen. But I do think in this matchup, I like Wisconsin. Give me the defense in the bowl game, because whether or not we know what players drop in, drop out, the one thing that we could probably be sure about in this matchup is that Wisconsin is going to run the ball. They're going to have enough backs. Whether or not Berger's healthy, they're going to have Groshek. They're going to have Watson. They're going to figure out a way to run the ball, and they are going to play defense. For me, this is one of the matchups in the bowl season where I look at it on paper and I just say, I'm going Wisconsin in this one. Not only am I going to go with Wisconsin to win, but I'm going to go with them to cover the 6.5 point spread in the Duke's Mayo Bowl.